This is Story Recapped. Today I'm going to explain an action, horror, sci-fi film called The Domestics. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care. In a school somewhere in America, kids come out after class on what seemed to be a typical day. Suddenly, numerous planes appear in the sky, spewing off toxic chemicals that immediately affect the kids. The planes disperse the toxins all over the nation, killing multitudes within seconds. Months after the attack, there's still no sign of the government to keep things in order. Most people have taken up arms to either defend themselves or become part of marauding gangs. Mark West loads his car with supplies and prepares to leave with his wife Nina to see her parents in Milwaukee. His friend warns him that they could end up dead on the road, but Mark notes that he must go with Nina because he still loves her. As the couple drives away, a radio DJ calling himself Crazy Al warns domestics like Nina and Mark to stay off the freeways and watch out for snipers. He also advises them to shoot anyone dressed like a ghost because they're probably part of a gang called Sheets. When Mark and Nina stop by a garage to fix their car, a group of men suddenly enter the building. As Mark attempts to sneak into his vehicle, a pickup truck bursts into the building and shoots down the men. Before long, members of the Sheets exit the truck and spot the couple while Mark is trying to start their faulty vehicle. Before the gang can shoot at them, Mark starts the vehicle and drives out of the garage. Later that day, Mark and Nina stop at an abandoned house to stay the night. In the bedroom, they see a dead couple who seem to be horribly mutilated before being killed. While Mark wraps up the bodies, Nina goes back to the car to contact her mother over the CB radio. Despite getting no response, Nina sends a message to let her mother know they're coming. She adds that Mark is trying to patch up their relationship, but things remain uncertain because they've been broken for too long. While Mark figures out the best route to Milwaukee, he asks Nina if there's a chance that her father would give him his prized firearm, the Wildy Magnum. Nina remarks that it's unlikely because her father hates his guts. The couple soon goes to sleep, not knowing that a man has been observing them outside the house. The following day, 3 members of a gang called Nailers capture the man and his young friend to ask them where to find a woman. The man refuses to tell them anything, but when a nailer named Dean threatens to kill him, he reveals that he saw a couple in a house nearby. Before heading to the house, they kill both of the captives. One of their members has trouble starting his motorcycle, so they leave him behind. Moments later, Mark and Nina hear the sound of the gang's motorcycle approaching the house, so Mark takes Nina to the attic and leaves her a rifle. Mark arms himself with a screwdriver and hides in a room as the 2 men look for them. Upstairs, Nina puts on headphones and turns on the radio to alleviate her fear. A nailer hears the faint sound from the headphone and starts heading toward the attic, but Mark emerges and stabs him in the head. Mark then heads to the living room to confront Dean. In the struggle, Mark stabs Dean in the gut and the eye. Afterward, Dean blinks with his other eye, but he stops moving. Mark and Nina soon leave the house to continue their journey. As they drive away, someone watches them from the scope of a rifle. On the radio, Al tells listeners that a cherry is roaming the streets, saving women and killing anyone in her way. While Mark and Nina are grabbing supplies at the grocery, a masked man with a gun emerges and instructs Mark to put down his firearm. When Mark complies, the man takes off his mask and introduces himself as Nathan Wood. Suddenly, a vehicle arrives, so they all hide behind the shelves. As a gang of men approaches them, Nathan quietly invites the couple to have dinner in their house later. Before the gang could reach them, someone fires at the men, killing them instantly. Afterward, Nathan's young son, Steven, emerges from hiding at the counter. Nathan convinces Nina and Mark to come with them to their home. When the couple agrees, Nathan and Steven hook up their car to their tow truck. Before they can leave, the plowboys arrive and block their way out of the parking lot. After exchanging pleasantries with Nathan, plowboy Jim notices the couple in his truck, so Nathan stresses that they're his friends. When Nathan sees Jim's new firearm, Jim discloses that he took it from a cherry he captured. He notes that he calls her Betsy, and he installed a tracking device on her to keep her from escaping. Betsy notices Nina holding onto Mark as Jim expresses his interest in her. Nathan soon gets impatient and asks Jim to move his truck, so Steven points his rifle at Jim to shoot him if he refuses. After the Plowboys leave, they head to Nathan's house, unaware that Dean is observing them. While waiting for dinner, Nathan asks Mark why they left their home. Mark reveals that they're going to live with Nina's parents, but he's worried because they haven't heard from them in weeks. During the meal, Nathan's wife, Teresa, asks Nina and Mark what they did before the planes dropped the chemicals. Nina discloses that she worked at a design firm in Minneapolis, and Mark reveals that he was in between jobs at the time. After dinner, Mark and Nathan wash the dishes, while Nina and Teresa play with their daughter Bella in her room while talking about their husbands. Nina reveals that her relationship with Mark is complicated because they were going through a divorce before the chemical attack. When Teresa points out that she still wears her wedding ring, Nina explains that it feels weird to take it off. In the kitchen, Mark offers to trade something for the hamburger steaks they ate earlier. Nathan offers to give him the steaks for free if he can guess what kind of meat it is. Mark surmises that it must be beef, but Nathan points out that no one has seen any animals for a while. Mark almost throws up when he realizes that Nathan fed them human meat. He then calls out to Nina so they can leave, but Nathan threatens to kill them and feed them to his family if they don't stay. Nathan suggests playing a board game, but Dean suddenly enters the room while holding a gun to Bella's head. Dean tells Nathan that he only wants Mark and Nina, so Nathan says he'll surrender the couple to get his daughter back. As Nathan tries to calm him down, Steven sneaks up on the nailer and slices his Achilles tendon. Nina and Mark run out of the house as Dean fires his gun. One of the bullets hits Teresa, so Steven kicks the gun from his hand. As Steven stabs him repeatedly, Dean reaches for his gun. Outside, Nina and Mark hear 2 gunshots while they grab their things from their car, which is still hooked to Nathan's truck. When they look in the garage, the couple finds another vehicle and flees from the house. Nina and Mark start blaming each other for what's happening to them as they drive away. On a bridge ahead of them, members of gamblers see their vehicle, so they spin a roulette and fire at the couple when it lands on a skull. The bullet hits Nina on the shoulder, so Mark quickly turns around and drives in the opposite direction. That night, Nathan contacts Jim to inform him that Teresa and Bella are dead. He then tells Jim that he can have Nina if they capture the couple. Jim immediately looks for his men, only to discover that they're dead. Suddenly, Betsy approaches him from behind and knocks him out with a pipe. After grabbing some weapons, Betsy breaks down a door to free the women in the gang's captivity. Moments later, Betsy flees from the compound in a police car. Nina wakes up in the morning and finds herself inside a cabin. When she gets up, she sees Mark's note, telling her that he went next door to look for food. Nina attempts to get out of the house through the door, but she finds a note indicating that it's booby-trapped, so she leaves through the window. While inspecting the garage, Nina is delighted to find a working Jeep. In the house next door, Mark finds Nathan and Steven in the bedroom with their hands tied up and sacks covering their heads. Soon after he takes off the covers, a man pointing a revolver at Mark enters the room and tells him to put down his weapon, so he has no choice but to comply. On the road, Betsy suddenly hears Jim rattling the trunk and asking her to let him out, so she stops the car and opens the trunk to shoot him in the leg. After closing the trunk, Betsy sees someone in the woods, so she quietly walks toward the forest to follow the figure. Back inside the house, the armed man introduces himself as William Cunningham and notes that Steven and Nathan have been following him. When Mark asks him what he wants, William opens a door and introduces him to a burly man named Bill the Big. William tells Mark that he can either fight Bill or go home without a scratch if he tortures Steven and Nathan. At the cabin, Nina starts packing her bags and gets ready to leave on her own, but she finds another note on the turntable asking her to listen to some records. On her favorite heavy metal album, Mark left another note begging Nina not to give up on their relationship. A while later, Nina puts on the record on the turntable. Outside the cabin, Betsy watches Nina from the door as she dances around the room while chugging on a bottle of alcohol. Meanwhile, Mark opts to fight with Bill despite his intimidating size. He kicks Bill in the groin and throws a punch, but the man blocks it and knocks him to the floor. After kicking him in the gut, Bill picks him up and strangles him, so Mark headbutts him to break free. When Bill puts him in a sleeper hold, Mark bites his arm, causing Bill to throw him at William. Mark ends up fighting with William to gain control of his revolver. He immediately pulls the trigger as soon as the barrel is pointed at William's face. After Nina drops to the couch, Betsy returns to the car and shoots Jim. Soon, Mark leaves the house and parts ways with Nathan and Steven. Bill looks back at the three and waves goodbye to them before walking away. Mark returns to the cabin and finds Nina passed out on the couch, so he carries her to bed. When Nina wakes up, she finds Mark target shooting outside. She asks Mark if she can try, so Mark teaches her the proper posture to help her hit the target. While the couple is outside, Betsy enters the cabin and finds Nina's wedding ring. After target practice, Nina takes Mark to a garage to show him a car she found. Mark is awestruck because it's the same vehicle he used to drive. As they reminisce about the past, Mark and Nina end up making love in the back seat of the car. Unbeknownst to the couple, the car belongs to gamblers, who soon enter the garage and capture them. Later, the gang takes the couple outside and spins a roulette that lands on a spade instead of a skull, so they put them in a cage and take them to their headquarters, a motel located 45 miles outside of Milwaukee. When the gang learns that they're married, they take the couple to the Snake Eye Suite, where they see a table with 2 guns on top. After tying their right hands to the table, a man uses a drill to fasten their hands to gloves equipped with revolvers. Before long, the pit boss puts 1 bullet in each gun and tells the couple to pull the trigger after he counts down from 5. He notes that he will add 2 bullets to each gun if they don't pull the trigger. He then promises to let them go if they survive after 6 rounds. Mark tells Nina to point the gun down and pull the trigger, but Nina stops the countdown and tells the pit boss to make the wager more interesting. Nina suggests putting 3 bullets in Mark's gun and letting them leave after 2 rounds. The crowd cheers when the pit boss agrees to her wager. Both guns don't fire in the first round, so the crowd places their bets for the next round. After the second countdown, Nina's gun fires a bullet and hits Mark's shoulder. While the pit boss is distracted by 2 gamblers fighting, Nina breaks free and grabs his gun. She immediately shoots the pit boss and frees Mark from his chair. As they attempt to flee, Nina learns that the pit boss is still alive, so she shoots him in the head. A gambler named Wanda gives them some time to escape, but they immediately head for their guns as soon as the couple heads out of the suite. When they get outside, snipers try to fire at them, but Betsy shoots them dead. Nina immediately puts Mark inside a vehicle and drives away. Soon, the other gamblers come out of the motel and fire their guns, but they're unable to hit the couple. Wanda immediately tells the gamblers to prepare her car so they can come after them. Soon, the couple reaches Milwaukee, but Nina finds out that both her parents are dead. Connie, her neighbor, discloses that her father passed away because he was very sick, and her mother soon followed. She then gives Nina a letter that they found in her mother's hand. Later, Connie, Dale, and Winston take Nina to the end of the street to show her a tripwire equipped with explosives to stop large vehicles. As Dale tells her how it works, their neighbor, Phil, approaches them to welcome Nina back home. Soon, Betsy arrives in the neighborhood and breaks into a house across the street to watch out for the gamblers. At the same moment, a couple and their daughter, Cynthia, knock on Nina's door to bring her some food and welcome her to the neighborhood. When she takes the food to the kitchen, Nina sees Phil talking on his walkie-talkie. Nina gets suspicious when Phil suddenly walks back to his house when she calls his attention. When Nina approaches his house, she hears a man on the walkie-talkie telling Phil that he's a minute away from his house. Nina soon hears the gamblers arriving, so she runs back home. She comes across Cynthia riding her bike on the street, so she takes the child with her. When they get inside, Nina immediately grabs some weapons and tells Mark that Phil sold them out. Soon after the gamblers exit their vehicles, Nina fires the first shot and kills one of them. As the gang shoots back, Betsy mows them down with a machine gun. The surviving gamblers immediately hide behind their vehicles and try firing back at her. While Nina loads her firearm, a gambler approaches her from behind, but Mark shoots him from the window. Suddenly, Cynthia runs out of the house. Mark tries to chase her, but a gambler grabs him from behind and tries to strangle him. During the struggle, Mark grabs the horn on the gambler's mask and he uses it to stab his eye. As the shootout continues outside, Betsy discovers that she's been hit in the abdomen. Suddenly, the plowboys, who are hunting for Betsy with their tracker, arrive on a truck. Nina immediately runs toward the tripwire and resets it before the truck reaches their house. After breaking through a barricade, the plowboys shoot the gamblers in their way. Soon, the truck reaches the tripwire and detonates the explosive, causing the truck to flip over. Wanda asks the remaining gambler to hold the street while she finds Nina, but Winston shoots him. Wanda kills Winston and heads toward Nina's house. Meanwhile, Betsy gets into the house and hands over Nina's wedding ring to Mark. Soon after Mark takes the ring from her hand, Wanda enters and blows Betsy's head off. Wanda pumps her shotgun and prepares to shoot Mark, but Nina soon comes in and kills her. Nina immediately goes to Phil's house to kill him, but she learns that he's already dead. She discovers a gambler tattoo on his arm and finds her father's Wildy Magnum on his table. On her way back home, she sees Cynthia riding her bike as her mother comes out of the house to get her. When Nina gets home, she gives the Magnum to Mark, and he puts the wedding ring back on her finger. Soon, the couple heads out in search of a new home. As they drive off, Crazy Al comes on the radio to warn gangs about a couple who took out a platoon of gamblers in Milwaukee.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.